So what's going on, people? Welcome to another video on the channel and welcome to another Battlefield 2042 news video. Now in today's video we're actually going over the 5 new specialists that have actually been confirmed and announced. They've shown us their abilities, they've shown us the abilities in action, which I won't show the video. I will leave a link to the video in the description, but I will be going over that and all the changes that they have made so far to the game before its launch. So if we start it off with the UI for the gameplay, now this is the one thing that I would say needed to be changed, just because it was very crowded towards the center of the screen and certain things were too big for the entire screen. One of which was the alerts of when sectors were actually going to be taken. That has now been changed and has been put in the top middle of your entire screen. So that means it's not in the way of everything, so that means you can see things still. And now the kill feed is also at the bottom of the screen. It's more or less a lower middle, exactly how it's been in most Battlefield games. I would say for myself that this change was actually many times over needed, because it was a very annoying thing that we couldn't actually see things on the map, and it was very hard to tell when you actually got kills, you actually got assists. It was a little bit annoying towards the start of the games, and you know, as soon as you get to playing the game a bit more, you actually got used to it, but I would still say I would prefer it to be how it is right now. And I will try and show a little bit of screenshots, maybe the video if I can, just towards how certain things have changed. But the one other thing that they actually have implemented into the game is that you can actually have a small leaderboard when you press a certain button. Now we don't know what that button is going to be, but you will see a leaderboard for where you are placed and where the closest players are to you. And that'll also tell you your kills, assists, deaths, and also the players that are around you in that position for their kills, assists, and deaths. It was the one thing for myself that it was annoying that we didn't have a leaderboard or a scoreboard or anyway, just because I am that type of gamer which likes to know where I am on the leaderboard. I compete to try and be the best, because in other Battlefield games you try and compete to be the best squad, but it seems like now the focus point has gone away from that, which, you know, kind of doesn't make any sense to why you would kind of take that away from the Battlefield game itself. But in some ways, you know, it's quite nice. It kind of makes it a little bit better towards the casual players instead. But for the ones that actually like to compete to be the best squad, the best player in the game, the ones that go for the most amount of kills, especially for myself, since I'm not really a proper vehicle player towards the Battlefield game, I'm very much a boots on the ground person. I like to compete to be the best boots on the ground person towards kills and where I am on the leaderboard, compared to the ones that are in helicopters all day or tanks all day. I kind of like to get, you know, the most amount of kills or whatever towards, you know, actual guns instead. That's how I like to play my Battlefield games. So it's nice to actually have that implemented into the game finally after the beta. So hopefully that progresses and changes the smallest bit more. But of course we are going to have to see if that does change. Now another thing that they have added is the feature of a big full overview of the map. Now this has been in other Battlefield games, but it wasn't implemented into the beta. It didn't actually get shown. I'm guessing this was probably a behind the scenes. That means it didn't want to actually bring out every single feature. But for the big overview of the map, the buttons to press for PC is M, and then for console it's going to be the view or the touchpad button. Now one thing that we don't know is that we don't know if this is going to be a confirmed feature for when the game actually drops, or if it's going to be a confirmed feature for the early access. That is something that we're going to have to find out, but hopefully we find out very soon about that. Another thing that they did showcase was the in-game customizational screen, so that means you can actually edit what type of attachments you want on your gun before you actually deploy. Now there are a lot of different categories that you can go between, and there's got a lot of different, I would say, sites, so that means, you know, you actually suit it to how you play. And towards a lot of these different features is that they have implemented a lot more detail into how your gun is actually going to be affected, which is for myself a very nice feature to actually have into the game. So that means you know on the fly what guns will actually be better for certain parts. And especially if you're mixing and matching between different attachments for your gun, that means you'll know what effect it's actually going to do. Now certain other things that have actually been confirmed and showcased is the end of round screen, which we didn't actually have in the beta, but this is actually going to showcase the players with the best stats throughout the entire game. Of course, certain aspects towards these stats, but your specialists are going to be having a little bit of a quip as you actually go in between each player, and on this end of round screen it'll actually showcase your ribbons that you'll be earning throughout the entire game, and of course the main stats of how many kills your score towards the actual team. And with the screen, it actually looks a lot better than what the beta was. The beta kind of just stopped abruptly, and it kind of just forced you back into the main menu, which wasn't really a nice feature to actually have, but it was the beta. We do have to think about this, is that it was towards the beta. So the one last thing that they've actually made a change to is the insertion of you going into each game. Now this is going to be changed a little bit. Of course you can spawn onto vehicles still, but if you're just spawning on top of the start screen itself and you're spawning at your HQ just on the foot, that means you'll now be deployed via a helicopter as a drop-off point. So there's going to be a small cutscene, so that means it's not just going to be a drop down you straight into the field. You're going to have a 30-second timer to pick your weapons beforehand, of course. You don't have to say that you're going to deploy there, you can wait and choose out your weapons a little bit quicker. So that means you're not in a massive rush to actually do all this type of stuff. You can actually take your time and still pick the weapons that are going to suit your playstyle for that game. But if you do want to start at that game and you're there before the match actually starts, then of course you will have the little cutscenes. That means you'll be dispatching through a helicopter and just rolling straight out onto the ground. So now if we head towards the juicy part of showcasing the 5 specialists that we've actually got details on, and if we start it off with Rayo, which is from India, and he's going to be from the class of Recon. Now of course there's no distinct classes, there's only going to be a whole category of just Recon, and then there's going to be subcategories of each of the specialists. Now Rayo's primary ability is called Cyber Warfare Suite, which allows him to hack enemy equipment and things around the world to his advantage. Now some things that we don't know about this is that the distance they'll be able to actually hack certain things from, it could be a far distance, which could play in terms from the actual clips that they showcased, is that he was hacking the bollards. So that means the bollards would rise before a vehicle goes across it, so that means he just got out his rocket launcher and just destroyed the vehicle. Now if that was in real life, the vehicle would probably just turn towards the player and just kill Rayo entirely. So we're going to have to probably see how far away we have to be to actually hack stuff. But if we move on to Rayo's trait, which is called Trojan Network, which allows him to hack enemies, and if he kills that hacked target, this will allow him to reveal enemies around that location. So essentially it's going to be more of a portable UAV. Now my guessing for myself is that the Trojan Network is going to be more of a you hack a target, and then if you kill that target, it will spot each enemy for your team, but we don't know how that detail is going to be. It could just be for yourself, or it could be a team benefit as well. The second specialist is called Ji-Soo Paik, which is a South Korean woman, and she's also going to be the class of Recon. Now this specialist primary ability is called the EMG-X scanner, which will allow you to display a electromagnetic overlay of hostiles in cover. So of course this is going to be working through walls, and this is going to look a lot more like a red overlay of the targets. Now her trait is called Threat Perception, which will allow her to automatically spot enemies who deal damage to you. So that could be incredibly good, especially if a sniper does miss you and just skims your little ankle. He could be spotted from a mile away, which would work very well, and it would work in a lot of different scenarios as well. If it's close combat, then you know, if you get shot and you don't die, that means everyone else will be able to see that enemy. Now we move over to the third one, which is nicknamed Angel. Now he is from Romania, and he's going to be the class of support. The specialty for Angel is going to be a loadout crate, which will provide teammates and yourself armor, ammo, and new loadouts. So now we know the one character which will allow you to be provided with armor and as well as ammo, as well as a way out of using certain weapons. Now the trait of Angel is called the Trauma Specialist, which will allow him to revive allies quicker and restore their armor. Now from the footage that we actually saw, it didn't actually look that fast to revive the ally, but it does have the impact towards the restoring their armor. So maybe that little trait is going to be tweaked the smallest amount just for how fast they're going to be revived, just because they do have to still use defibs, which the defibs are quite slow in this game compared to other ones, especially if you're going towards Battlefield 3 where you could literally just get them out and just shoot every single person on the floor. This one is a lot more slower. You do have to rub the defibs together and then revive them, but it's still a lot slower than just a Battlefield 4. Now the fourth one is one that we saw before, and he was showcased in some of the first clips that we've actually had from Battlefield 2042, which is Dozer. Now Dozer is from Mexico. He's going to be an assault class, and he's going to have the ability, the primary ability, of having a ballistic shield. Now the ballistic shield, of course, he can carry that, and it's going to protect him from incoming projectiles. We don't know how much damage that's going to actually protect him from it, if it's going to be 100% damage or if it's going to be a certain amount. We're not quite sure just yet. Seems like we're going to have a lot of testing towards a lot of these specialists. But the trait of Dozer is that he's going to have a blast resistance. So that means he's going to take less damage, and the recovery is going to be faster from explosive damage. It did showcase this with Dozer standing right on top of a grenade and it doesn't kill him. So it does work. And the final one is going to be called Sundance, the one that we've seen so many times. So Sundance is from France. She's going to be an assault class, and Sundance is also going to have the trait. We're going to start off with the trait on this one of the wingsuit. This is the wingsuit player that we have been waiting to see. Now the wingsuit is her trait. So that means it's a consistent thing of having the wingsuit. You can traverse great distances and of course surprise enemies, but it will have a little momentum to boost yourself up the smallest bit as you land. Now if we move over to the part that we don't know about Sundance, which is her specialty, which is smart explosives. Now smart explosives will allow her to change between 3 different grenades, one of which is going to be anti-armor, another one which is going to be EMP, and the other one, the last one, is going to be a scatter grenade. Now alongside this, it does seem like we are going to be able to pick a normal grenade, especially since this is just a specialty instead of an actual throwable thing. So with Sundancer, you'll be able to have a mass load of grenades to just throw at every single player in the game. Especially the scatter grenades, or you could go for the anti-armor, throw that in a corridor, get rid of the armor, and then throw a normal grenade in there. So that means you could double up on each grenade, especially in a lot more compact areas. I feel like that's going to cause a lot of chaos. So that is it. That is everything that we've got so far from Battlefield, especially today. This is all we've got from Battlefield today. So we've got all 10 of the specialists that are going to be at launch, and of course we've got a lot of the new updates that have been added and improvements towards the game before the launch is going to happen on November 19th. Now I will say before I finish, I am sorry, I haven't done any videos. My own fault, just too much work at the moment, so I will have a bit of time when I can. Live streams will be coming to YouTube, so I am sorry that there is a lot of a delay towards a lot of this type of stuff, but I will hopefully soon be making some content. It might not always be Battlefield, of course. There's going to be a lot of different games. Halo's coming out towards Christmas time, so of course there's going to be videos on that because I do enjoy Halo. There could be live streams towards every single game. Up until Battlefield comes out, I'm hoping to try and do a live stream each week, especially towards the weekdays, because the weekends I'm busy. It's my time to spend with the ones that I love. So, you know, on the weekdays, it's more of a still working type of thing for myself. Apart from the Friday is rest day for me. So, hope you guys enjoy. Remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. So, peace out.